how I want to have an impact and spend my time having an impact is around the environment, because frankly, the numbers are looking pretty scary.
Absolutely.
A 1.5 degree world, so that's
not going to happen.
Warming above pre-industrial levels.
It's actually much higher than that.
We're on a trajectory that is not looking good for that. And I want to keep that as the guiding North Star. But you're right, it's looking pretty precarious. And so to change that, to have a real impact on that, that is something where governments play an enormously important framing role. But frankly, all of us, whether we are voters, consumers, shareholders, owners of businesses, the private sector is where the main capital is going to come from to achieve the sort of path to sustainability that we need. So to answer your question directly, I think the biggest area is going to be around the energy transition. So Indonesia has a phenomenal contribution to the world as one of the 3 great forests that are the lungs of the planet.
Right.
And without those 3 great forests, we don't stand a chance. So the preservation and the conservation of forestry in Indonesia are phenomenally important, and we're proud to be working with the Indonesian government on supporting the way that forests are managed. There's been some really innovative work in this country, and over the last 10 years, deforestation in Indonesia has significantly reduced on a year-by-year basis, which is really good news. I think the energy transition, though, is the other side of that coin. For Indonesia to be a net carbon sink, rather than, as it is at the moment, a net carbon emitter, it's all about that energy transition. And that's moving away from coal-fired power stations. And that's seriously hard, because this is a country that exports coal and has a legitimate desire for its people to have access to energy. That is enormously important from a development perspective and an economic growth perspective. And so there, the whole kind of conversation, and certainly our engagement, is how to support Indonesia in making that shift to renewable energy, whether that is using the incredible geothermal resources that Indonesia's got, and whether it's extending further the solar, including floating solar, but tidal, wind. There are many options. The marginal price of those of every kilowatt hour is coming down year by year, but it's weaning us off that addiction to fossil fuels is where we need to be. And for the UK, we closed our last coal-fired power station this year, and that's been a long, difficult journey, and it needs to be a just energy transition. And so we've been thinking about the people who worked in our coal industry. How do we help them to retool so that they can have a future that is productive, that they can contribute to the economy for the future, whether it's in energy or in a different area? And so supporting a just energy transition in Indonesia is something that we're really mindful of, so that you get the economics right. You've also got to get the politics, the kind of the human elements of it right.
I think if you asked any coal-fired power generation capability producer, they would be happy to stop